I am Vinnie Tortorich, and folks, here we are again on the Friday show. You know what that means. We get together, we do a little one-on-one action, and we figure out what's going on. A lot of times we have luminaries. Lately, I've been bringing Anna Vocino on because, well, I just like talking to Anna. It's like an old shoe. God, don't let Anna know I said that. She's not an old shoe. I promise she's not. Anyway, as I always like to say, your good intentions have been stolen, but don't worry. I'm here to help you get them back. You may be soft and succulent when you start this process, but hang in there. Before long, you shall be lean and mean. Today, I did not bring a luminary in. I brought a regular person in, and there's a reason for that. First, let me introduce her, and then I'll tell you guys why I decided to bring a regular person in to talk about this subject. Folks, Tammy Croats. How you doing, Tammy?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Tammy, I didn't mean to call you a regular person. That's not to demean you in any way, shape, or form. But we usually bring these luminaries from around the world. I mean, we've had everyone from Pearl Mutter to William Davis to Tim Noakes. I could just go on and on. I mean, this Friday show is just, it's a cavalcade of some of the smartest minds in the world. And I'm still trying to figure out, you know, Frank Mitlerner has been on this show. I mean, the guy, I mean, I could go on and on as to who these people are and what they've accomplished in their life. And people love when I bring them on. I mentioned Anna Vocino. I know that you're not a regular listener of my show. Anna has been my regular co-host on the, but she used to do every show with me. And then Anna's kind of famous. You hear Anna's voice every day and you don't even realize it. She, do you watch any of the networks like NBC, CBS, ABC?
Absolutely.
You know, when you hear tonight on CBS, blah, 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 blah. That's Anna.
Her.
That's Anna.
Sometimes
when you call your credit card company and they put you on hold and there's a very nice woman saying, "You're next in line," that's Anna Vocino. Sometimes you're in a department store and you hear some kind of announcement. That's Anna Vocino. She's literally famous for doing that. No one knows who she is. And I'm lucky enough to have her as part of my podcast. But the reason I wanted a regular person, because we're going to talk about COVID today. And I've noticed two things. I've had a few people on to talk about COVID. And when I bring just a normal human being who has had COVID in to talk about their experience, everyone seems to be fine. The listeners are fine. The YouTube people who hates everyone, I'm pretty sure they hate me. They're fine. Twitter doesn't seem to get upset. No one seems to get upset. But if you're a doctor and you say something about COVID and it's not what that group wants you to say, well, you get canceled. Is that some of that? We live in a cancel culture. You know, one day you're a hero, the next day you're zero, right? Case in point. Teachers, you're a teacher, right?
I am a teacher. I'm an elementary school teacher.
They were calling you guys heroes during the pandemic. But try not to get a shot and go back to work. You're not a hero anymore. See how that works?
Yes, it is. Yes, I do.
So you can either be a hero as a teacher now or a pariah. You have a choice. And I'm not saying people should get shots or not get shots. I got the shot. I decided to get the shot. I don't care what people do. I'm not a political guy. You want to get the shot? This is a free country. You want to get the shot? Get the shot. You don't want to get the shot? Don't get the shot. As my great-great-great-grandmother used to say, I don't give a fuck. Right? Who gets it? Who doesn't? But you got the COVID.
Yes, I did. Early on, I got it in June of 2020.
So you got it when it was still basically, quote unquote, a death sentence.
Yes, I did. And it was just kind of one of those, it was a fear that it could be a death sentence, but at the same time, I had a really, really light case of it. So I didn't feel as bad as all of the people, obviously, that were getting hospitalized. I've actually gone to work feeling sicker than I did when I had it.
I had a younger brother who got it, and he, like they said, now we know, they weren't really telling us during the pandemic. They weren't, but as we know now, it was mostly older people who died, people with pre-existing conditions, and if you were younger, it was people who were morbidly obese. That's what the statistics are telling us now. You don't look very old. You don't look morbidly obese to me. So you went unscathed, right? Do you mind telling how old you are?
I am actually 57. So
what the hell happened to me? We're 2 years apart. I would have guessed you to be 47.
Thank you for that. But no, I actually will be 58 in November, so I don't mind sharing that. But I mean, I was in good shape. I exercised daily. I would hop on my bike and ride my bike 15, 30 miles after work. I hike. I was doing all sorts of things. So very active, and yeah, my life changed in the last year.
We are less than a year apart in age. I'm going to be 59 in September. You're doing something right.
Thank you for the compliment.
And by the way, I ride the crap out of a bike. You don't know much about me, but I can ride a bike until I'm silly. Yet you ride, I just ride 15 miles. I'm fine. I'm good. Look how hot I am. Yeah, I'm just smoke show. Okay, I get it. You're doing something right. So you're in good shape. You're a primary school teacher. I know what that's like. My parents were school teachers. I have a teaching degree. It keeps you on your toes. But somehow you got it. Do you know how you got it?
I do actually. Strangely enough, I went to with a friend over to an outdoor concert not concert. There were 3 or 4 people playing in somebody's front yard. They were just doing it to kind of entertain people. Everything was outside. Never thought anything of it because everybody was masked up, sat outside, didn't go in anywhere. And the friend that I was with called me a week later and said that she had a sore throat and went to get tested for strep, and they tested her for COVID. Said that she had COVID, and the day that she found out, my throat started hurting. And
so both of you got it from either each other, or she got it from somewhere else and gave it to you, or?
Yeah, I don't know about that. It was just the 2 of us had been there. I mean, we didn't travel there together. We just met there, sat outside together while 3 or 4 people played music in the front yard.
And how many people do you think were at the event?
25.
And were people socially distancing? I don't know how that helps anything, but.
Yeah, I mean, her and I sat over in a tree in the front yard, and most of the other people were actually over sitting in the driveway. And there were some people up in the front part of the driveway, but nobody was really that close together. So, I mean, she was surprised. She was devastated because she got it before I did, and takes the responsibility of me getting it from her. Who knows? But yeah. So, I mean, within a week and a half or 2 weeks, we were both sick.
And, by the way, you could have picked it up in a grocery store, given it to her. No one really knows where you get it.
Yep, absolutely.
It's random. You can point to the outdoor concert, but it doesn't sound like either of you did anything egregious at that concert, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like you were kissing strangers there or something.
Not one close enough to do that.
Yeah. So, maybe you gave it to her. You want to think, well, she got a scratchy throat the day before me, so therefore she gave it to me. It could have been the other way around.
It was that she had to call me and tell me, so that's why she feels it was her responsibility.
Let her off the hook. Just tell her.
Oh, I have absolutely left her off the hook. I joke with her all the time and told her it's no big deal, but that's kind of how it all rolled out when it first happened.
Okay, so you get COVID. There's no vaccine at that time, right?
Nope.
And it gets a lot of bad press, but hydroxychloroquine was around. People were taking tons of zinc. There was what's the other thing around? What was the other thing? Something.
Yeah, I can't think of it. There were two things they were talking about at that time.
Something mectin, tectin, ivermectin.
There we go.
Sounds like a football player for the New England Patriots. Ivermectin Smith. Okay, so yeah, there were a few things around, some things, and again, those drugs all got politicized,
Yeah.
In one way or another. I'm still not sure how it all got politicized, but we turned a pandemic into a political deal. Okay. Still not, and people go, oh, well, it's because Trump said this, or it's because so-and-so said, how does that work? Trump's not a doctor. He said something, so everyone's got, I don't get how any of it got where it got, but it did.
Yes, it did. And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're just as befuddled as I am.
Yes, I am.
Right? You're a teacher and you're sitting there going, I can't make heads or tails out of this.
Well, I mean, we went home for spring break we had spring break that week and we never went back to school. So everything all of a sudden was switched automatically in March to going online and trying to figure out how to do everything right away. So I spent the spring at home trying to figure out how to teach kids online, and then school's over and then got COVID in June. So
what, it all happened so fast. They told us 15 days, we just need to break the thing at the hospital. 15 days became, well, we saw what it became. Where are you in the world? Where are you teaching? Which state?
I'm in Iowa, and I'm actually a special ed teacher. So teaching online from home was tricky right away. That was a new experience. And like I said, as the school year wrapped up, and then I got COVID, it was one of those, well, I'm sorry that I had it, but I wasn't terribly worried because I didn't feel too sick, and thought, well, cool, I got it out of the way, was kind of my mentality. But that didn't end up to be the case as far as how things turned out.
Yeah, we will talk about that, because I want to talk about the long haulers. I want to talk about some special drugs that you may have taken. And I won't even discuss how I came across you, but at any rate, before we do that, I got to give some love to Belcampo, folks. Belcampo.com. They've been a sponsor of this show. Wow, man, it was like right at the end of 2020. They came on for that last 6 weeks, and these meat companies kind of come and go. They want to advertise for a while, and you see them, and then they're gone again. We did that with another meat company, but this company has been sticking around. Belcampo, I can't say enough about them. The meat is amazing. It shows up right at your door. If you put in promo code Vinnie, you get 15% off every single time. When I've had other meat vendors on the show, it was like, oh, 5%. If they spend $150, we'll give them free shipping. Not Belcampo, 15% every single time. And after the discount, if you're still over $100, free shipping. So I tell everyone, get at least $120 worth of meat, throw it in your freezer. You'll get the free shipping, put in promo code Vinnie, you'll get 15% off. You can't beat that. You're not going to get that price at a grocery store. And the other thing you won't get at the grocery store is the quality of Belcampo meats. Go check out Anya Fernald. She owns Belcampo. She's got a great Instagram. Let her and everyone at Belcampo know that we sent you. Belcampo.com. We're talking to Tammy Croats from the great state of Iowa, which I've never, again, going back to politics, I've never understood. We have 50 states in the union, but every politician, when they run for president, all they care about is Iowa. Yeah, it's like 5 people in Iowa. Why do we care about you guys? What's going on there?
You watch it with Iowa, but it is, Iowa gets a lot more commercials for a lot longer than every other state during that time. So
because you guys are basically a swing state, right? State.
Yeah.
By the way, did I tell people the promo code was Vinnie on Belcampo? I can't remember. I was so interested in talking to you.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Put in that promo code. Yeah, Iowa is a great state of Iowa. We got to start in Iowa. We got to go back to Iowa. Have we been to Iowa this week? It's crazy, right?
It's a good place. It is a good place. And you were talking about biking with Ragbri here in the state of Iowa is the big biking event that happens in the summer. So that a lot of times is what Iowa is known for if you're into the biking scene.
So Iowa is known for cycling and presidents. So there you have it. And I think, wasn't President Bush, he was a mountain biker, right? Yeah.
I don't know that.
I think he was a mountain biker. Yeah, he went mountain biking with Lance Armstrong at some point. That was like a
Really?
big deal. Yeah, you guys should have known that being in Iowa with all your bicycles.
Apparently we should have. I did go to when Lance rode through here. I was able to see him when they came through Corville, Iowa. So
yeah. So let's talk about this. You got COVID, and then you tried. Well, tell me about the drugs. Tell me about Dr. Teitelbaum, Joseph Teitelbaum. He's been on the show a couple of times. How did you get connected with him? What happened with that?
I'm going to do a brief thing right before that. So I had COVID in June. I felt decent in between the end of June and August when school was supposed to start. And then school was delayed because we had the derecho here in Cedar Rapids. So school was put off for another 2 weeks. And so mid-September, we had been back to school and things just started to, I totally started to fall apart again, like extreme fatigue, foggy head, aches and pains, just much more severe than I had when I had COVID. And like I said, I walked and biked and everything a lot, and I couldn't do that at that point because I wasn't feeling very good. So actually one day after school, I'm like, I have to get outside and I just need to take a walk. And there's a park nearby that's a 0.7 loop that I would usually go around 3, 4, or 5 times. And I walked to the opposite side of it, which is about 0.3, and looked back at my truck and seriously had no idea how I was going to get back.
Really?
My body I have never felt my body feel like that. The fatigue, the exhaustion, the everything was awful. And I did get back. I drove home and called my principal and said, I don't know if I have COVID again. I don't know what's going on, but I can't come in tomorrow. And I was off work I called my doctor, but I was off work for 2 weeks and then went back part-time and saw my doctor. And so they are we're looking at that being like a relapse from the whole COVID thing, which has been happening to a lot of people. And I haven't felt that bad. It was the same all year long. I mean, I felt awful, shouldn't probably have been working. And my doctor sent me to the university to a COVID clinic, which I was really, really excited to go to because I wanted to make sure I didn't have like any of the lung damage that I'd been reading about or
Right.
the heart issues. And I didn't go there until February. And they did that testing and said, I didn't have any of that type of damage. So I was really, really happy, but I still felt like dirt. I mean, the worst I've ever felt. And it was after that I started looking for myself, or I guess they diagnosed me with chronic fatigue. And then that's when I started looking for somebody because my primary wasn't really doing anything. And the COVID clinic didn't really do anything except for tell me to go to a counselor just for the support, but I wasn't healing at all. So then I searched out Dr. Teitelbaum and have just been doing that on my own.
Isn't it funny how when doctors run out of things to say, they'll just say chronic fatigue, we're good, chronic fatigue, moving on. Okay, but I still have a problem. You know, I've been working with morbidly obese people for 40 years. If I'm working with them for months and months and months and they're not losing weight, I can't look at them and go, I don't know, you're just fat. I guess you're fat.
Yeah, you're just going to
know,
be that way.
you
Yep.
know, you know, medicine can do that. You know, when you got a house note and you got a carb note due and everything, you can't just go, I don't know why you didn't lose weight. All right, I guess you have chronic fat. You know, that think about that. It sounds
Yeah.
funny.
No, I mean, I'm laughing because it's been my experience, and I'm on Survivor Corps, which is a Facebook group for long haul survivors. And there's over 180,000 people on just that site alone. And I read that stuff daily. And I mean, it's hard to see and watch and know that, you know, tests are coming back normal, but people can't get out of bed. I mean, alls I
Yeah.
did was work and sleep, and fell behind in work
Wow.
because teachers don't just work at school. There's lots of things to do at night. And I mean, I was very active, and I would wake up in the morning and my first thought was, when do I get to get back home and lay back down again? Which is not ever been in my head before. I would make it through the day, come home, drop my stuff and sleep the rest of the night, maybe get up and eat.
Wow.
And I know the winter, it was tough as far as like just emotionally and just where I was as far as just my spirits. And then the foggy head and the achy muscles in the body. Yeah, nothing like I've ever experienced. But like I said, I searched out Dr. T, and it was kind of it was supposed to happen. I did the research, called and talked to them to see, like, how does this work? He was not in my state. How does just everything work out? And Sarah, who I spoke to, who was absolutely amazing, said that it was my lucky day, and somebody had just canceled. I talked to her on a Wednesday. Somebody had canceled for that following Thursday, and she said normally it's a month or two out to get to see him. And so I was lucky enough to see him 8 days later via Zoom. And the treatment and everything since then has been life-changing to getting out of where I was then.
Okay, so Teitelbaum, if I remember, is he in Hawaii or am I making that up?
He is physically in Hawaii. Yes. He's out of Maryland, and the folks that have been helping me as far as setting things up are in Maryland, but he's in Hawaii. You're correct.
Okay. So, because, you know, I have a bunch of doctors that, you know, when people, you know, I have a bunch of cardiologists who are real cardiologists, because if you just, you know, a lot of times people go to their regular doctor. I'm giving you a different example.
Mhm.
And their doctor will say, oh, your cholesterol is high. When they have perfectly normal cholesterol, you need to be on a statin. And I'll ask those people, well, wait, hang on. Did your doctor check your lipid panels? And why are they telling you this? Turns out most doctors don't know how to read the lipid panel correctly. So I have a group of doctors, but some of these doctors can't practice in all states, right? They have to, I don't know, qualify to practice in certain states. So I'm wondering how Joe Teitelbaum is getting around that.
The one thing that I do know, he runs a bunch of blood tests, and he sent me the lab work that I needed to have done, and I went to a place locally and did that, and then the information was sent back to him. So he had that information. I've been lucky enough that my insurance covered the lab work, which I was really thankful for. But everything else has been through Zoom, but he did the lab work, and he looks at it in a much larger way than like my primary would. And got me on a bunch of different supplements and some prescription meds, and following his SHINE protocol that he does. But I mean, my first thing was he's been doing chronic fatigue, focusing on fibromyalgia and all of that for 40 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't figure anybody better to try to have help me.
Yeah, no, I've had some great conversations with him on this very Friday show. I'm very intrigued by the man. So what were the supplements? Now, folks, what we're offering here, because again, Tammy's not a doctor. I'm certainly not a doctor, although I would play one on TV if I knew how to act. So Tammy, what supplements did he put you on? Are you there?
No, can you ask me the question again? Nope, it froze for just a second.
Yeah, you're further. Before we get into the drugs, which supplements did the doctor put you on?
The first ones originally were, he was looking at helping me sleep, which is the S for shine. So there were some supplements for that. And we focused on that originally, but the supplements, I am on his energy revitalization for vitamin. It's a vitamin drink. And just to kind of start just getting my body back in balance. And the smart energy system were some of the first things I was on. Again, just to bring my body back into balance. And I was put on curcumin, which is a pain, helps to work on like a natural pain relief. So that again helped with the sleep. It helped with some of the achy body that I had. And I'm trying to think, I've got some, he put me on also some calming balance, which is like I'm going to say anxiety, but just like because of where I was in the state that I was as far as not getting things done at work. So that helps support. And then there were some prescriptions that he gave me for sleeping, because one of his big things is with chronic fatigue, you're exhausted, you have the malaise after you exercise and can't recover. And because I wasn't sleeping, I mean, he really talks about the 8 to 9 hours of sleep a night. And so that was vital at the beginning. So I was on magnesium, or I still am on magnesium, and sometimes melatonin, but normally the magnesium, and then a couple prescriptions to help me sleep at night.
Yeah.
So, and then most recently, one of the big things he's over the course of time, he also, I guess, treated, and these were with prescriptions, but he treated me with for my adrenals and my thyroid, again, just to kind of balance my body. But everything was starting over the course of the last 2 months to really, I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't napping as much during the day. I was able to get out and do more and not, I mean, even walking up a flight of stairs, it was like sit down when I got back in the house.
Really?
Yeah. I also learned from talking to everybody from there in how to pace my day and not go out and spend 6 hours out doing stuff all day long, but hey, go to the store, get your things, come back home, rest for 2 hours, and then go back out, because I couldn't, I mean, even cooking was like, to be up in the kitchen for that long was hard. And again, like the foggy head, and like forgetting mid-sentence, forgetting what you're saying, or not being able to like tie things in a conversation that made sense with the person that you were talking to. I had a lot of heart palpitation, just really hard beating in my chest. I had an electric feel in my back all the time when I laid down, kind of like a TENS unit.
Yeah.
Would shoot across my back all the time. So like talking to him about all those things, those were things that he then went, oh, well, that's what might be going on, or hey, your body needs supplements to support this. And so he was listening to what I was saying as far as what the symptoms were that I was having,
Yeah.
and then treating those things. And then the big thing recently, I just met with him, it's been probably a month ago. I said I was starting to really feel better, but my foggy head was still there. And he started me on recovery factors, which is, it's an amino acid, but the the research has shown how much that's helped with brain fog and concentration and stuff. I talked to him on a Thursday, and I happened to have them already because I knew eventually I was going to start on them. I
Right.
started on them on Friday. I was sitting in church on Sunday, and it was like I looked around and went, I feel normal. Like my
Wow.
head feels like I don't feel like I'm in that big daze. And that was within 3 days. And I wouldn't, I mean, he said it, you know, things like that have happened, but it was like, I can tell you the moment that it was like, wow, I feel okay.
This
So,
recovery factor, do you know which hormones or which amino acids they are? Or
I have the bottle sitting over in front of me, but I don't know off the top of my head. There's a whole list of things on it. But it's a recovery
right?
but no, I can't tell you specifically unless you want me to read them off of there, but
Yeah, read them off. I'd be interested because amino acids taken the right way have helped people do all sorts of things over the years.
you're going to test my ability to say all these names. There's lysine, valine, glutamic acid, glutamine. Is it theronine? Can't read that one.
Mhm.
Glycine, triosine.
Mhm.
I'm skipping through some of them, but there's L-carnitine, which I'm also taking that on the side as well. Tryptophan. I don't know. There's probably 6 or 7 more on here. Leucine, Leucine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was
Well, it sounds like you've got a
seriously was,
bunch of the essential amino acids in there, along with some of the branch chains, and then there's a few others in there. So, yeah, yeah, I'm just interested. I don't know what that means. I mean, he's a doctor and he's figured that kind of thing out. Yeah, I've seen amino acids over the years. I own a supplement company, and I don't sell any amino acids. I've dabbled in maybe thinking about doing it because I know the effects it can have on certain people. One of the best things you're taking there is magnesium. I tell everyone should be on a magnesium supplement. We're just not getting it from
we
the
don't get
foods we
enough of
eat.
it.
Yeah, we used to get a ton of it. We don't get it in vegetables anymore. We don't get it anywhere as 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 we used to get it. So when they check anyone for magnesium, they're low. And almost everyone that comes to my company, if for some reason, we have a subscription model. So if for any reason their credit card, they change a credit card or it got lost or stolen, they canceled it. If their magnesium doesn't show up, they they freak out. They say, "Oh my God, I need it! I need it! I need it now! I need it!" And we try to rush it out to them when that happens. But yeah, that's a big one. Getting the amino acids you need. Did you take any other hormones at all? Because you mentioned your thyroid was off, and they usually
Um,
fix that with hormones.
I have been on, oh, I just lost the thyroid. I am on a hormone, but I'm on Armor thyroid.
Hmm.
And I am on some hormones with like progesterone, testosterone in it. And then can't remember what it is for the adrenal gland support. And then the others, well, I guess that's not for the support. Never mind. But yeah, I mean, I guess the H is hormones, the I is for immunity and infections. And so he then, after he looked at my blood work and kind of balanced with what, the variance was there. And he explained to me how he looks at them differently than just a primary doc might. And so with the hormones, he was supplementing that to just kind of heal my body. And then we started working on some of the immunity and then also some of the infections that with the symptoms that I had told him. I was also being treated for candida, and I was on berberine for that, which is a supplement. And prescription drug then after I really started to feel different after that as well. So the way that he explained it to me with COVID, like you have a big circuit breaker, and he might have said this on your show before, but like there were so many different things going on that like whatever happened in October, like I had COVID, it was just lessening my immunity and lessening and unplugging, like turning things off in the circuit breaker.
Right.
And whatever happened in October was enough to just shut everything down. And I tell you what, it did. So,
You know, it's interesting, Tammy. A lot of times people, you'll take someone like Teitelbaum, who I'm a fan of, and, you know, people will go, oh, these guys are crazy. They're throwing all this stuff at this and that and the whole thing. But look at you. I mean, you couldn't walk 3/10 of a mile on a flat surface. And you seem to be very coherent right now during this podcast. How long between the time you met Dr. Teitelbaum and now, how long has it been for you?
my original appointment with him was April 15th. And I started supplements probably by the end of the month. And I also did not work the rest of the school year. So I was off from the beginning of May for the end of the school year, which was a big conversation with him and his associate. And they explained to me how that would benefit me. And like I said, I don't know that I should have been there. I had pushed myself way too hard, which you just keep thinking, well, it's going to go away. And it wasn't.
Right.
But talked to him on April 15th, started supplements within those next 2 weeks. And we're just starting into August. And I mean, I had to score 0 to 10 on how I was feeling when I started. I mean, I think I scored it a 2. And I mean, I am not 100%, but I would say I'm back at a 7 or an 8. And
Yeah.
I need to build back up into the physical activities, and he's actually helped supporting that too. I mean, he gives me some idea of, because he doesn't want me to fall back into that overdoing myself and being out, totally
Sure.
out and sleep for 2 days, which I've done before. I mean, there was, you start feeling good and you think, cool, I can go do this stuff. And the next day you're down and out. And I've just kind of learned how to balance that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's all very interesting because, when COVID was happening at first, it was a death sentence, and then it became, oh, you could get it and live and not end up on a respirator, or, on and on and on. And now, I'm hearing all the time, oh, did you hear so and so got COVID? It doesn't matter anymore because no one's really dying from it, especially if they have the shot. Seems like if you're having any of the vaccines, it just turns into flu symptoms and you're fine. But no one's talking about the long haulers. And
No.
I've had a lot of people, I do these phone calls. People can sign up and talk to me for 30 minutes or an hour or whatever they want. And I started getting more and more phone calls from people with long haulers. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not a doctor. I mean, I'm telling you how to eat, what to do. I don't know what this is. I'm sorry, I'll give you your money back. I don't know what to tell you, and then when our mutual friend Dean said, hey, Teitelbaum is helping people. And I went, I don't know if I want a doctor to come on and talk about it. I know that sounds weird, but whenever you do that, it just, like I was saying at the beginning of the show, it gets weird. I've seen some of these doctors, just get canceled because they just expressed an opinion that may or may not be helping people. And I didn't want to see that happen to him or anyone else, especially because look at you. I mean, you believe he's gotten you healthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it means something. Folks, the other thing that can get you healthy is olive oil. That's right. Olive oil, Villa Cappelli olive oil, is the longest running sponsor of this show. They've been with us from almost the beginning. That's right. Day one. Well, not exactly day one, but pretty close to day one. And Paul Cappelli passed away a year and a half ago, before COVID even happened. Great man. He died of lung cancer. Paul would not stop smoking. Truly miss that guy, but his husband, Stephen Crutchfield, has kept that company going. They make the best olive oil in the world, hands down. You want to check it out. Villa Cappelli olive oil, my favorite olive oil. Anna loves it. Anna knows a thing or two about cooking. You want to go get this stuff. It's really good. Villa Cappelli, promo code Vinnie, Vinnie, will get you 10% off every single time. I tell everyone, get the 3-liter 10 because you're getting, number one, if you spend more than $100, you'll get free shipping. So spend a few bucks more than 100. After the 10% discount, you have to be over 100. Free shipping. When it's olive oil, it's heavy. You want that free shipping. Number two, you get 10% off. Villa Cappelli, let them know we sent you. Put in promo code Vinnie, Vinnie, and you will get that 10% off. Villa Cappelli olive oil. We're talking to Tammy Croats, and she not only had COVID, but she had the long haulers. Sounds like something a trucker would do. I'm a long hauler. I'm a long hauler. You ever drive a truck, Tammy?
I drive a pickup, but I have never driven a semi, so no.
Yeah, I like that long haul.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, maybe you should get yourself a semi. Get out of the
No.
school teaching business. I don't know. Try something else.
Hey,
You could do that.
But nope. I was actually I'm going to go away from the semi thing. I was actually at school today trying to get ready. Teachers start back on Friday, and so just trying to see what that's going to look like this year, and how I go back and how I return, and kind of stay out of my own way and maybe not work quite as hard as not as hard, but as try to fine tune things. So I'm not spending as much time. I've also learned to spend time taking care of me, which I don't normally do very well. Yeah, I don't know. Mind went somewhere, but anyway.
Well, look, I mean, taking care of yourself should always be priority one, because if you can't take care of yourself, there's no way you can help anyone else. And when I did my student teaching, even though I did secondary education, don't ask me why, but they put me in a primary school. So, I don't know how in the hell. Number one, primary schools are tough. You throw on top of that special ed. Now you're just trying to herd lizards. It's, I don't, the energy it takes to deal with kids. I don't know how anyone does it. So more power.
Yeah, I love what I do, but yes, it does take a lot of energy. And I really saw last year how much energy I put into it, because every ounce that I had went into when I was at school. And I have 2 associates that were working with me last year, and they were rock stars, helping me try to get through. But I would push and try to get through the school day. And the second the kids would leave, my head would be on the table, and I could just feel my body melt. And so that was one of the things, learning not only the physical aspect that COVID did, but how hard the mental drain was on my body, which was something I had never experienced before. And I mean, again, I've heard that from many people on the website. One other thing is the folks at Dr. Teitelbaum's office. The majority of them have gone through his protocol. And so somebody understood how I was feeling.
Right.
And there's so many people that don't necessarily believe it, or, like you said, oh, I'll get COVID and it'll get it over with and it'll be done. And to talk to somebody that really understood and could empathize with how I was feeling was also awesome. And same with Dr. T, because I mean, he had chronic fatigue when he was in going through med school. And so that was a big piece of it too, because they could empathize with how I was feeling. So.
Yeah. Every time I've talked to that guy, I've had a good conversation. There's something I don't want to blush over. You mentioned this group that you went to online. Is that a Facebook group, or where can people find that?
It is a Facebook group for people who have long hauler symptoms, and it's Survivor Core. And the person who started it, her name is Diana Berent, Berrent. And you have to ask to join the group, and then they accept you in. And it was a lot of the support that I was getting. I mean, I've got wonderful family, but like sometimes you start wondering, is it really like, is anybody else have this? Is it just me? I mean, and then we were isolated for a while, and it was being on that site and being able to not only say how I was feeling, but to see that other people are feeling the same, some of the similar symptoms, or being able to support one another. And I'm not a big Facebook person, but that was one of my reasons for getting on there was for Survivor Core. And Diana Berrent has also been a huge advocate for long haul, and has done a lot of work to help that. So absolutely, if it's something that somebody's listening and feels like they need that support, it's really made a difference for me too.
No, I'm a big believer in support groups. Look, I always say, we have a Facebook group. It started I right after this podcast, and it's actually called Vinnie Tortorich's No Sugars, No Grains. I didn't start the group, and it doesn't have your kind of numbers. I think it's got 30 or 40,000 people. I don't know what's in it, but it's a big, giant support group. And a lot of people get more help from that than anything else I do. I mean, I have books, I have movies, I have a free PDF. I offer a lot of things for free, but that support group of going in there and hearing other people's stories. And so many people just sit back in that group and just absorb, and they've lost 100, 200, 300 pounds plus, never, ever doing anything except saying, please let me in the group. And they vet you. As an easy vetting process, and they let you in. And after that, they'll just lose the weight. And I can't imagine that this is much different. Whenever we can get together as a group, as a team on anything, it works better. Just a collective mind, that just gets in there, and you can figure out what you need. Give that one more time. It's called
it's Survivor Core, and it's a Facebook group. And if you Google, or I mean, if you search that on Facebook, Survivor Core, and then the person who started its name is Diana Berrent, and I believe it's Berrent. And again, it's been an awesome way to just connect with people that are experiencing similar things, and learn things here or there. I mean, I've responded a few times and put Dr. T's name out there. And Dr. T has written the book From Fatigue to Fantastic.
Yeah.
And that, as even if you aren't able to see him, I mean, a lot of the information is in that book. So that's another way, I guess, to be able to do it. And it's really pretty self-explanatory, the way that he explains everything. I enjoy looking at that type of stuff. So it was an interesting read for me. But I was working with him before I read it. But it's nice to have as a backup too.
Well, I want to thank you for coming on. This has been great. Knowledge is power. And when I saw your story out there, Dean told me, a mutual friend told me about you, and I was like, because Dean will send a lot of people my way. I'll say nah to about 95% of them. And I mean, you know what? People, this is where we can help. We can help people just to hear a regular person who has long haulers. It's out there. We have to, look, we have to help fix people. And that's what I try to do. Hang on. I want to say goodbye to you off the air, Tammy. Folks,
Okay.
If you like what's going on here, you know what to do. We all go shopping on Amazon. Before you go to Amazon, please go to VinnieTortorich.com. Click through the banner. It puts coal on the fire, gets my train down the track. When you're at VinnieTortorich.com, we also have a super fan page. That money does not end up in my pocket. Think of it as being like PBS. I've been doing this show for free for all these years. I put out the free PDF. I do 5 shows a week. It's all free. If you have a couple of extra bucks and you want to throw it at this podcast, it goes to the expense of the podcast to keep it running so that other people can find it just like you did. But do you have any place where people can find you, Tammy?
No, not necessarily.
Tammy likes to stay quiet.
but-
Yeah, I like that.
I mean, I don't have any kind of a website or podcast or anything. You know, I mean, I don't know if there's any way if somebody wanted to reach out to have any, you know, to just talk to me about my experience with them. I don't know how you can support that, or if it's an email thing. I'm not really sure.
I don't have the capacity because I get tens of thousands of emails and there's no way I would be able to sift through them. I think the best thing is if people just go to that group and you're in the group and then they can talk to you in the group.
Yeah, that would be it. That would be actually an awesome idea. Thank you.
Survivor Core. Go check out Tammy at Survivor Core. It's Tammy Croats is Krotz. I guess that would be the normal way to spell Croats.
Yeah.
Never thought
And
about it.
yeah, and like I said, I would love to share that information, and the more people I can help. I mean, I never went to Dr. Teitelbaum to think I was going to be on a podcast to help people. I was just trying to get myself out of where I was. But to be able to do this and be an advocate for people and realize that there's still a lot of people out there suffering from things that, like you said, aren't getting talked about. And I hope that this helps them and that I'm able to help some folks by sharing it with you. And thank you for having me on.
And listen, folks, Tammy has not taken a nap throughout this entire podcast. So apparently it's all working out.
I made it through the whole thing, Vinnie.
Yeah. So folks, on behalf of Tammy Croats, my name is Vinnie Tortorich. Put life into living and do it with enthusiasm.